Do the work, even when you don't feel like it, right? You see, that's what everybody says. But you see, back when I was just first starting out my copywriting journey, this is something that I believed as well. But it ended up ruining a lot of my progress and also leading to me burning out. You see, I would know exactly what I should do, but the inner negotiator inside my head was just far too loud. Every time I went to sit down to actually do work, that little voice in my head would always say, well, why don't you just do it tomorrow? Put it off for a little bit. Why don't you just watch that one more YouTube video? It's not really that big of a deal, right? And of course, this led to me feeling guilty, feeling like I wasn't good enough, destroyed my confidence, and also just made the whole journey just very, very stressful for me. And this is when I finally figured out, guys, doing the work, even when you don't feel like it, is actually not the answer. Because the fact of the matter is that most successful people that I was around or that I watched, they didn't really look that miserable when they were doing work. In fact, it looked like they kind of enjoyed it. So then I tried to do the exact same thing. I found a couple ways to actually convince my brain to actually enjoy the work and like working hard. And this made all of the difference for me. And when I started to adopt this principle of tricking my brain into actually enjoying doing the hard work, big things started happening. And if I would have known this sooner, man, I would have been a 12-year-old billionaire just like Aman Gaji. But that's okay, because now I have the opportunity to teach it to you guys right now, because there were really 4 main things that I did in my copywriting journey that I was actually able to trick my brain into enjoying doing the work. I'm talking whether that actually be sitting down and doing the business work, or going to the gym, or eating right, or actually doing any of that disciplinary action that most of the time we actually talk ourselves out of. You see, the very first big breakthrough that I made when convincing myself to do the hard work was to actually stop trying. See, as a lot of you guys probably know, I started out my entrepreneurial journey as a copywriter. And you see, the hardest thing about becoming a copywriter actually isn't writing the copy, it's client acquisition. Now, I found myself emailing 30 and 40 emails every single day with little to no replies and little to no progress. And needless to say, this was getting tougher and tougher and tougher every single day. And what I found was that on the days where I had already emailed a bunch of people, or I really didn't feel like doing it, my efficiency dropped drastically. I mean, sure, I was doing the work even when I didn't feel like it, right? Well, the problem with that was that I was able to send maybe 15 outreaches every single hour, but when I really didn't feel like it, I'm talking about really didn't feel like it, I might be able to pull together 3 to 5 emails every single hour. So the productivity just simply wasn't there. And no matter how hard I tried, no matter how hard I begged or pleaded with my inner negotiator, I just couldn't get the work done at the same capacity as when I was fresh, or when I kind of did felt like doing the work a little bit. Like, have you ever noticed when you tried to cram for a test, for example, all of a sudden, literally every single little thing just starts distracting you? All of a sudden, you got to check your phone, you got to check your messages, or that one video on YouTube, or you just remembered that you needed to respond to that one email from 2 weeks ago. I mean, sometimes you would even just sit there and zone out and stare at the wall for 15 seconds and kind of daydream, and then your focus and your efficiency and your productivity would just be completely collapsed. And this is a problem that tons of people face because the solution is unusual and counterintuitive. But the number one way I found to best trick your brain into enjoying doing the hard work is to stop trying it so much. Like, stop trying to force your brain to do it. Look, here's the thing. By you sitting there trying to literally, physically, and emotionally beat your brain into submission, into doing the hard work, all you're doing is making that task even more undesirable and unbearable for yourself. Because in its simplest form, our brain wants to move towards pleasure and away from pain. And by you just force feeding your brain these tasks, you are just making it more and more painful for you, which is further adding to the negative connotation that your brain has to doing the work. Guys, I want you to remember that your brain, your mind, is your partner, not your slave. The best way to trick your brain into liking doing the hard work is to actually work with it and make the tasks more enjoyable and more pleasurable, and make goofing off or those distractions harder to get to or less enjoyable. And some things that you can actually do to make the hard work more enjoyable, which is actually the second thing you can do to trick your brain into liking the hard work, is to live in the future. You see, before I even made my very first dime online, I just knew that I would make it. I just knew that I would be successful. So every day when I was driving my hoopty, my old Nissan Maxima from 2010, my 12-year-old car at the time, I would always imagine what it would be like when I finally drive my brand new Audi around. I even went as far as to write down what exactly I would do with $10K a month when I make it. And remember guys, this was before I had even made a dime online with copywriting. And believe it or not, this actually made the work so much easier to do because my brain started associating the work with those rewards that I would get in the future. And by me being able to manipulate my reward center, man, I was able to trick my brain into actually liking doing the hard work. Learning how to live in the future is going to completely revolutionize the way that you do work. And it's not just with money either. If you wanted a shredded six-pack or something, you could just imagine what it would look like if you just looked in the mirror and saw some Brandon Carter type shredded physique. And the actual science behind this is what those astrology girls would call, manifesting. But the thing is that all the wealthiest people on the planet swear by this and they know that it works. You see, in the most famous book on how to get wealthy, Think and Grow Rich, this phenomenon is referred to as auto-suggestion, meaning that if you put yourself into this future desired dream state all the time, your brain will subconsciously figure out ways to get you there. So should you spend all of your time daydreaming about what it's going to be like to get rich? No, but you should be using visualization tactics in order to trick your brain into loving the hard work. But yet another great method to love doing the hard work is to talk about your goals often to your network. You see, when I was in middle school, I was downright addicted to Call of Duty. I'm talking Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Black Ops, all of those games, okay? I would literally come home at the end of the day from school and do nothing but play video games until it was time to go to sleep. Every single day. On the weekend, it would just be full-time video games. But why? Well, you see, as I started to grow up, and even as I left high school, I started to grow out of video games and just leave them around. Why? Well, it wasn't because the games weren't getting as fun. In fact, the games were getting even more and more advanced. But the reason as to why it stopped being fun is because all my other friends also grew out of playing video games. And now, whenever I went on to Call of Duty or whatever video game I was playing at the time, it was never even half as much fun because I didn't have the friends there to laugh and joke around with on the actual video game. But you see, when I actually had those people to play with, I'm talking I was a straight nerd, bro. I was quick scoping fools. I was telling people to 1v1 me and I'd be winning every single time, bro. My KD, my kill death ratio was crazy. I was full on nerd into them video games. But as soon as my friends left, as soon as I didn't have anybody to play with, I stopped them. I just dropped them altogether. And the same goes with whatever your goals are, whether it be copywriting or some other type of business or fitness or whatever. If you can find a tribe who is also obsessed with reaching that one particular goal, it will be so much easier and more enjoyable for you. And this is one of the best ways to actually trick your brain into doing the hard work. But guys, there's still really one great principle that you need to use so that the work isn't so difficult for you to complete every single day. And that, my friends, is to brainwash yourself. Now, I know brainwash might sound like kind of a harsh word, but the fact of the matter is that you're being brainwashed on a daily basis, whether you like it or are aware of it or not. I mean, think about it. There are nerds in a lab somewhere who are getting paid millions of dollars to figure out how to get you more addicted to these social media platforms. Every single thing you come across is competing for your attention. And when it does get your attention, its main goal is to somehow manipulate your brain into thinking however they want you to think. So instead of just being an empty vessel ready for programming, ready for somebody to brainwash you, what you should do is actually focus on brainwashing yourself. And basically, this consists of two parts. One is unbrainwashing yourself, and two is re-brainwashing yourself. You see, it's really funny because something I noticed about all really great entrepreneurs is that they were super guarded with their time. And the two examples that come to mind are one, Hamza, and two, Charlie Morgan, who is the SMMA YouTuber. So as far as Hamza goes, if he actually screen shares and goes onto his YouTube, you'll notice that every single thing is blocked. All the thumbnails are blurred out, all the titles are blurred out, and this is by design so that when he goes onto YouTube, these Chrome extensions basically save him from getting distracted. They save him from getting brainwashed. And Charlie Morgan is the same deal. You see, he owns a Mac, and his bottom little dock there only has one app. Everything else is just gone. Look, guys, it is extremely important to curate what goes into your head and to not get distracted and to practice this sort of digital minimalism. So what should you do? Well, in order to do the hard work, it's really important that you make all the distractions much more difficult to get to. So there's a couple things that we can do here. First of all, is you can make a brand new YouTube account where you only subscribe to 3 to 5 people and then you only watch them and everything else just gets blocked out. You can get some Chrome extension that actually blurs out every other video on YouTube. And that is exactly why I created the Netflix for copywriters. This is a complete playlist that consists of videos from my YouTube channel that are educational and informative and will help you on your journey to becoming a full-time copywriter. Guys, that is on screen now. If you want to watch it, of course, it's completely free, and I will see you on those other videos. All right, that's it for today. See you later. Peace.